Hello and welcome to The Upgrade. I'm Seymour Segnet from the frozen wastelands of New York. In fact, it's been so cold in the studio getting ready to do this. I was wearing that. I'll take that off now. Actually, and talking of frozen wastelands, our hearts go out to everyone in Texas. I know you've had just a terrible time over the last few weeks. Kate is based in Texas, as I think you know, and is still dealing with the aftermath. She sends you her love and will be back with us next week. All right, before we get started, I've got a great show for you today, by the way. You're going to meet one of my favorite people in the whole world. We've spoken to you often about our partners, P3, who are helping us with this amazing project. You've met Sean before, the chief engineer. You're going to meet Damian, who's the principal, in just a couple of minutes. But before we do that, some quick housekeeping. Investors, we have a formal report for you coming soon. Stand by. I think you're going to like what it says. Sneak peeks. 2020 was almost exactly double 2019, up about 100%. 2021 so far, which won't be part of the formal report, is up about 170% over the same period in 2020. So did I say 2021? 2021 to date is up over 170% compared to the same period 2020. And we've got some other stuff in the pipeline, some new product designs that are breathtaking. Hoping to show you those this summer. All right, so below me there's the usual array of buttons. Please like and subscribe and follow. I think they are. Like on Facebook, follow us on YouTube. We're working really hard on YouTube, getting that better organized as a resource for you. And please also the LinkedIn. We need a lot more people on LinkedIn. That's the last button if you click on that, please, as well. Also, stay right there because we're going to do the secret word again this week. It's your chance to win $1,000 of MAGFAST and or other goodies. Usually people choose a bit of a mix. We've got folks with like an Apple Watch and a MAGFAST time coming to them, that kind of thing. If you're the winner, it's pretty nice. And Kate runs the whole thing for us. She'll be back next week. All right. So the main event today is, I'm hoping he's ready, is my dear friend, Damian Krause. Is he ready? Can we bring him into the room, please? Damian.
Hi, Seymour. How are you?
Greetings. Welcome. I'm fantastic. If you just sort of, there's a bit of a special relationship that you're about to witness if you're watching this film, because when did we first meet, Damian? Early
it must be
2000.
6 years ago or something.
14. Yeah, it's now 7 years. And I hope that watching this, you will come to appreciate Damian the way that I do watching this. I often tell people I can still remember.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Siri, your services are not required at the moment. I'm going to take you off so you don't interrupt us again. Silly girl. I said that the other day, Damian, the cat came in and I said, "Hello, silly." And off Siri went. I still remember the first moment that I met you. We'd been introduced by a mutual friend, and I remember coming into the room, and I remember the sort of warmth with which you greeted me 7 years ago. It's kind of like it was yesterday. Anyway, enough of this self-indulgence. The reason I asked you here today was to help folks just better understand the relationship, what we do together, why P3 is so important to the process, and also, frankly, everybody watching is we've got broadly three categories of folks watching, right? We've got folks who are our pre-order customers who are dying to know when this is going to ship. We've got folks who are investors who want us to be shipping but want us to get the fundamental business right as well as shipping. And then there's folks who are just watching us to see how things are going. So let's make sure that we keep everybody in mind kind of as we have this discussion. But first of all, I wanted to start up by just asking you, how would you describe like the MAGFAST P3 relationship? You know, how was it that we came together? And I mean, you've been doing this 30 some years.
All right.
So you have choices with what you decide to get involved with, but you chose to get involved with MAGFAST. And it'd be great if you could just speak to that a little bit.
Sure. So first of all, Seymour, thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
I hope I'm not your only German friend, but came came here over 30 years ago to this wonderful country and to produce really exciting products. And when we met 7 years ago, what excited me most is that we wanted to do something which has never been done before. You talked about charging in general, and charging products were widely distributed in this market, but there was absolutely nothing like what we do today. And what, again, excited me about this is this unique opportunity to do something which hasn't been done before, which is very challenging, and which will be clearly the best charging products and most likely the most prominent charging brand worldwide at some point. It's a tough road, as we have experienced, because it's very, very challenging. And I have to say, thanks to you, because you're such a perfectionist, giving Sean, who I believe the contributors have seen before, a true technical challenge often. But thanks to you, these products will be really, really amazing. So yeah, our relationship is, I think, extremely important to each other, because you as the inventor of all these products and us as the executors are kind of dependent on each other. So that's the relationship we have. It has been an exciting journey so far, and I think it's going to be even more exciting once we launch the products, which will be very soon.
I think it has. I mean, it certainly, there is if you're watching this, you're watching two people who are very natural kind of optimists. We've had some big challenges along the way, but Damian, it's kind of I see Damian, like I always feel that you're totally solid and kind of dependable when things are good, and even more so when things are challenging, because those are the days when everyone needs to be really steady, keep the eye on the kind of big prize, and deal with the problem of the day. So let's talk a little bit about. I said you've been doing this for 30 years, but let's talk about what it is that you've been doing for 30 years, because you don't actually own. We often say P3 is our manufacturer. P3 is our manufacturing partner, right? You don't own factories because factories need to be incredibly specialized, right? You don't go the same place to make to make a charger that you go to make a lawnmower, right?
Absolutely correct. So we do this, as we said, over 30 years, mostly in China, but we also manufacture in Korea, we manufacture in Taiwan, and we every product we choose to be manufactured, we choose according to the price point and the quality. In this particular case, clearly the price point. Sorry, guys.
Just you can't stop that Verizon chime, huh?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Do you need to take that?
No, I definitely don't need to take it.
I'm just going. While he sorts it out, I just want to make a point, because I know that there are one or two people watching this who are going, I see. So we've got an Englishman and a German talking about how they're making stuff in China for wait. What about made in America? I will tell you that the vast bulk of the work and the value that is being built here is being built in North America. Damian's just down the road in Connecticut. Outside of COVID, when we either meet kind of locally here or sometimes in the city. The sad truth of it is there isn't a way of making electronics of this kind in North America at the moment. And the minute there is, we would do it again, right, Damian? Because we love the country. I'm an American by birth. You've been here for 30 years. We love this country, but there simply isn't the infrastructure to build the kind of things that we're building here. You need the access to the different laboratories and where we work in Shenzhen. Just within 1 square mile, there's kind of 100 factories that have an individual small part that might be needed for something. And sadly, that isn't possible here. The minute it changes, we would do that, right?
Right. But there's a couple of other reasons. So one reason is obviously that you asked me this question, is that we have manufacturing partners which we work with for a long, long time. So these partners will do anything for us, which is really, really important. as the products from China are becoming more expensive, we clearly, and you were right, looking at the possibility of eventually manufacturing here in the United States. This is not something we wouldn't do. I would be very happy to do this, but we also need to still keep the price point right. These are, as we said, very challenging, very involved high-tech products which we are manufacturing currently. If we would do this right now here in the United States, the price could easily double. And there's a reason why an iPhone is not manufactured in the United States yet. Same reason for us also. But we monitor the market. The contributors might know that there is a tariff right now of 25 to 30%, which has been with the old administration been imposed. Which would, if we would import this product right now, the price point would be 25% higher than what it was when we launched the idea, etc.
Yep.
And when we started.
Yep.
So that's another aspect. But very high tech products, great to work with. I'm referring to our relationship. I'm super excited because this will be the year where we're launching these products.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and this, we're now weeks away. We showed folks the week before last the film. Sean helped us to navigate the film from the tooling factory, which is beautiful, isn't it? I mean, you've been doing this for a while. That's a particularly nice high tech facility. So we're super excited about that, and that continues. Remember, folks watching, remember we saw the machine underneath. I was joking that it was a bath of olive oil. I think some kind of kerosene cutting away like that. That machine is still doing it now because it's such a slow, kind of careful process. But let's talk about those stages, because we're at tooling now for the first two products. Air we showed you last week. We had to make a little adjustment. That's going to go into tooling very shortly. But tooling is it's taken this long because tooling is kind of the last thing you do. So let's go through the other stages a little bit. The kind of the first thing you guys did for us was sort of, I would call it concept validation, because I came in going, hey, I know nothing about manufacturing, but I got this idea for a charger. And you immediately saw the potential of it from a commercial point of view, but there was then the very real business of, can this thing actually be made, right?
Yes. But so we evaluated this with our engineers and our partners in China, and as I tell my 13-year-old son, who often comes to me and says, "Daddy, I have a problem," I tell him, no, remember, there are no problems, there are only solutions. So what's the solution? So here we did the same thing. You came with an idea, and we focused on the solution, and we obviously solved. I can clearly say this, and I proudly say this: every idea you had, from the magnetic point of view, which was one of the biggest challenges we had, because these products are quite I don't want to say heavy, but there's a lot of technology inside. So having them also work magnetically was quite a challenge, and we solved the problem with really the most high-tech magnets which are available in the world market. So between this and then the regular technology aspects of it, I mean, you have to concur with me now. I hope that every idea you had along the way, because you also had new ideas along the way, that we solved every idea. And the products which will be now shipping are even more advanced than the original idea you had when you came to us. And I think this is for specifically for the contributors. It's a great bonus to have.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've said many times this has taken much longer than it should have done. Damian and I made a couple of mistakes along the way, right? There was one partner we were originally chose to work with for very good reasons, and they turned out to be the wrong partner, and it kind of cost us time. But we have taken great advantage of that longer journey, as Damian says, along the way. And we're just even, I have to say, even just this, because I think I said last week, I'm very frustrated about having to make that very late I was frustrated that it was a late change to air, that very slight change in the geometry where we opened it up. I'm thrilled with the change itself, though. And each time there's been some problem, each time you guys have, it's typically been Sean has been talking to someone, they said, it's going to be difficult to do this, or we won't, the way you've designed it there, that Apple won't certify that or whatever. And each time we've faced a problem, I feel that we've been quick to solve it, but also the thing has gotten even better each time. So we feel great about that. All right, so concept validation, then specification, right? You've helped us to figure out, exactly, like, it's not just USB, it's like this type of USB with this type of power output under these conditions and so on. Development, which is the piece that has been, the greatest unknown, because the best example I always find to give people is, have you ever upgraded your kitchen? Have you ever replaced your kitchen? Because you think, like, how hard can it be? It's just some cabinets, right? A stove, a refrigerator. How hard can it? Some nice tiles. Maybe you even chose some special tiles that are going to take a few weeks to come in. But somehow, I don't know anybody who's done, and you did some upgrades to your house a couple of years ago, right, Damian? And it was supposed to take this long, and it took this long, and it wasn't anything to do with you. It was just because the process was harder, and people can't always. So this thing has taken longer than we expected, but the results, I think, are just phenomenal. And now we're in tooling, right? But we're actually in tooling.
Before I forget, I just want to refer to the point you made with the wrong choice of this one, the mistake we did. And you're absolutely right.
Yes.
It was a mistake in hindsight. But because these products are so complex, technologically complex, I mean, we're pushing battery limits, we're pushing technology limits. It's very hard to find a partner who is knowledgeable in all aspects. So the first one we chose was a technological partner who has served us for many years, and we together doing rather high-tech products. But it turned out that later the battery challenge which we had, and the magnetic challenge for that matter too, that this company just couldn't solve the problem. And again, it's not because it's a simple problem to solve. It wasn't simple. We're packing, as you know, a lot of power into these small products.
Well, no one else does this. I mean, there isn't. I mean, if you just take MAGFAST Life, there's my little model here, right? MAGFAST Life has 4 ways of getting power in. I know I say this over and over, but I mean, 4 ways of getting power in, and sort of four ways plus the cable of getting power out. I mean, nobody else. So 1 or 2 other people have 2 ways of getting power in. No one has 4 ways of getting power in. And so many ways of getting it out, and plus the magnets, plus the compatibility, plus the system. So there's a lot there. And as Damian said, there are plenty of people who can make you a charger. There are plenty of people who can sell you some nice magnets. There are plenty of people who can make a cable. It's incredibly difficult to bring all of these things together in what is actually, I mean, most right now, if you're watching this, you're likely watching it on a phone that cost $300 million to develop, or $1 billion to develop, in the hands of an enormous technology giant with unlimited resources. When you're of a more modest size as we are, I mean, Damian's been around for a long time, but one of the reasons that it's such a good marriage, I think, Damian, is I feel like we're sort of right sized for each other. Right. In other words, your company is big enough to get this done, small enough to care. Yes. We could have gone with other partners, and we would have just been, one of 100 little projects. And as soon as it got difficult, they wouldn't have cared. Whereas you've kind of, stuck with us through thick and thin.
And that applies to our manufacturing partners as well. They need to be right-sized. Yeah.
Now, we can't say too much about the factory that we're using because it's commercially sort of sensitive. But let's tell folks what we can. Now, the footage that we saw the other day was not the manufacturing facility, not the assembly facility, I should say. It was where the tools are being made, because again, people who are good at assembling things, right, which is a very hard thing to do kind of efficiently and with consistent quality are not necessarily the same people who are good at making these tools. They're completely different skills. It's they're completely different skills. We haven't, I think I showed one little bit of footage from inside the testing room at the main facility we're using. Some folks watching this may remember a room, I think I said, with 20,000 testing bays in. You might have seen me walking along, showing all of these chargers, one next to the other, being charged. But what else can we, without, as I say, it's a bit commercially sensitive. What else can we say about the facilities where everyone's chargers are going to be made?
Well, I mean, what we can say, we can't say the names, but they actually manufacture products, chargers, and power banks for other brand name American companies. If I would give you the names, and you know the names, but I don't think it's appropriate to mention this.
No, it's not.
They are main high-tech brands in the United States, and again, it proves only the quality you are after. Again, let me also quickly say something about the tooling here. I mean, the reason why the tooling, the company we chose for tooling and our manufacturing partner chose and we approved is that this is one of the highest quality tooling maker in China. Why is this so important? Because
by the way, which means one of the highest quality tool makers in the world, right?
Correct.
Because,
right. Because that's where most tools are made, including tools, housings are made for certain parts of the German Mercedes, of my BMW, etc. But anyway, the reason why this is so important, because most people think a housing is a housing. But let me tell you, and when your customers, the clients, the contributors get the product, they will understand that this housing is different from any housing they see. You can buy a power bank and you can have just the housing around it. But what you always told us, you want minimum Apple quality. This is what you have always told me. And that means the shiny, polished, the seams are nearly invisible. I mean, this is what makes a tool special. And this is why these tools work day and night for a long time to do exactly that. So anyway, so the manufacturer we have chosen is very well known and makes products for other well-known companies, all high tech. Again, I don't think it would be right to name the company here, but I guess from what you have seen so far, and by the way, Sean got some samples in. He just showed me earlier, and we went through all the functionality of it. And I can tell you, I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away.
I saw them briefly over video this morning. It was too soon to get them into this show, but I think we should ask Sean if he'll drop in for a few minutes next week to show everybody, because it's really very, very very exciting. I mentioned these the other week. These are a new sort of final pre-tooling. The tooling's going on, but these are sort of final samples, and they're actually in translucent, so they don't look the same as the ones that we'll be shipping to you, but they're kind of magical, aren't they? Because you can sort of see everything kind of glowing and going on inside.
That was the idea, because I think it is important to understand as we test the functionality of those samples. It is also important to understand and to see what's in it. I mean, they are packed with technology, which is really fascinating. Once you get a regular housing around it, nobody knows what's in it. But so I think these will be probably the last samples we will be able to see in a translucent way before we see the off-tool samples. But I also want to go back to what excites me the most. And what excites me the most is that we are shipping soon.
It is. I mean, it has never felt like this before. It's kind of there's a kind of excitement in the air. We had a Zoom meeting this morning that Sean that you weren't there, Damian, but Sean came in and showed those new models, and just the whole team was there with their eyes kind of popping out of their heads. It's going to be amazing. Now, a bit like I keep on saying, it's like the vaccine distribution, which is a silly comparison, but it's similar in this way, in that it's quite a large, complex project, and we can't just, like, when we go, it's not like the machines can instantly make all of the pre-orders at once and ship them all at once. There's going to be a ramp up. We're going to ship in the order that people in the order that people place their orders, and we're going to be super fair about it. Whenever you're scheduled to get, we'll talk in the next couple of weeks. We have a kind of a batch system to make sure that it's super fair. But I hope that you'll be thrilled as you see it starting to get underway in the coming weeks. Let's just summarize for folks where we are with tooling. Life and Extreme are in there at the moment, in the bath of olive oil, right? In the bath of kerosene. You don't happen to have the dates that those two tools are finished, do you?
No, but Sean gave me dates, and I believe one, I would have to pull it up again. One we are 20 days away, and the other one we are 23 days away from finishing the tool, something like that, in the 20s. So less than 2 months, and then we can start production.
Yep, and then just to set everybody's expectations, there will be an initial batch of, I think we've now said 150 that we will make from each tool. There will be 50 or 60 of those will be needed for testing and certification and destruction testing. Right, some of these things wind up getting destroyed like a car. They smash it against a wall, and so on. So we will have a few dozen that MAGFAST will be distributing to one of our two very earliest customers. We'll talk about more about how we're doing this in the weeks ahead, and we're going to make sure that everything is just right before we ramp up the main part of fulfillment. Let's just talk quickly about the other products. MAGFAST wall for plugging into, I don't have one behind me at the moment, but for plugging into your wall, because we have because this is going to be a powerhouse for the future. We're refining the way the transformer is going to work inside, so that can again, investors will be pleased if I were to unpack all of this for you, because we're basically setting it up to be a very, very solid foundation for current and future versions of the product. But wall is coming on really nicely. Rode, we almost got a new model of Rode in just before because there was a Chinese New Year's being going on, and I think they just missed it by a day. They'll be back within the next few days, and we'll have that, right, Damian? Yes. And MAGFAST Time. Smaller number of people have ordered MAGFAST Time because, of course, it's specialist for the. It's only folks with an Apple Watch who would have ordered it. But we're pleased with how Time is going as well. It has got a little less emphasis at the moment because the quantities are smaller. So we've been focused on on all of the kind of mainline products that are in the Pro Kit and that most people have. Right,
but Sean is telling me that there's also not so much to do there. That we are nearly there also with technology. Yep. So we are. Seymour, basically, 3 products are being tooled right now. The third one in a couple of days once they come back, meaning Air, and the other 3 are nearly developed. So we will be, I think, probably in the next 4 weeks or so, we will be starting tool on those 2, at least on the first or second one. So again, 2021 is where we reach the peak, as I say. I often compare ourselves to climbing K2. And I'm saying 2021 is where we start shipping, which is amazing.
Yeah, we must do that. We must do it with oxygen next time.
Yeah. Well, I think this, as successful as exciting this is, I think the next thing you should be doing is writing a book about this entire process, because
please,
this will be another exciting because this is.
There must be. I mean, I have to say, I feel as we come into this phase of it. There's this thing called imposter syndrome when people kind of feel like they're kind of somewhere and they shouldn't be there, and I've definitely used to feel that quite a lot when we had the original invention and professionals like you got involved, and I was like, I don't know anything about what's going on here. But I actually coincidentally did a calculation on the whiteboard the other night. This thing about the 10,000 hours principle. You know this principle, Damian?
Yeah, tell me.
His name will come back to me in a minute. The famous writer for the New Malcolm Gladwell is one of the people who, I don't know whether he invented the principle, but he writes about it, that for people to get good at something, they kind of need to have 10,000 hours of experience doing it. One of the examples he gives is the Beatles, who everybody thinks just going to burst onto the scene fresh, but they had done 10,000 hours working in the cavern, right? Back in Germany, they had done the kind of the groundwork, and I calculated my hours in the charger business, just a back of envelope calculation, and it's a little over 20,000 hours now. Now you've got 250,000 hours in the electronics business, Damian. So I bow before you, but I sort of feel now that we're just in a really, really strong position. Everything's coming together. These tools are world class, and it's from the project we did together in the past. I know that it's kind of there's this long waiting. When will it? And then when it goes, it bloody goes like that because the machine starts up. The products start flying off the line. The assembly starts, and it starts to move very, very quickly. So I know you will join me, Damian, in thanking everybody for sticking with us. So loyally while we've been doing this.
Yeah, and I actually like to add something because I think when we started this, and you asked me if I would be willing and happy to do this with you, and I was so excited, as we said in the beginning of this presentation here. I think the contributors, the supporters, as well as you, as well as myself, we all expected this process to be much shorter.
Sure.
But I want everybody to know, which you already know, because you and I, we had some rough times together where you were.
No, we didn't.
Damian,
I'm sorry.
Damian, another delay. Why? Yeah, and I had to apologize to you many times. Why? Because it is a very, very challenging project here. You don't become in a year the biggest charging brand in America and possibly in the world. You have to build the proper base to do this.
Well, I was going to say, and you. I mean, we have a chance to grow something incredible here because we've taken the time and we've taken the knocks along the way. We've pushed through every time there's been a challenge. To make these things amazing. That's what, because there's a lot of folks who do, and we honor every entrepreneur who does anything. It's kind of amazing, but sometimes folks will go onto Kickstarter or Indiegogo. They'll come up with some project. The good people will support them. They'll back them. They'll make the thing. They'll ship them, and then they go on and do something else. And we've always seen this as being with your help, with your help, Damian, and with the help of the good folks watching. And we say charging for good. We actually have a chance to make a little change in an industry. You think, well, how important is charging? I don't know. It's just everybody in the Western world charges stuff quite a few times a day. I mean, that's there's billions of charging operations. Maybe there's a chance to improve it a little bit. All right, Damian, I think we've kept the good people here for long enough. Do you have anything you want to say in summary?
Yeah, in summary, what I believe I said before, but I wasn't sure if this is clear, is the product we will be shipping will be a much better product than we both originally envisioned. And I'm very proud of it. You should be very proud of it with all the ideas you had. And I think the ones who will really appreciate it is the customers who will finally get the product in their hands.
Thank you. Can I just point out that Damian is using the singular form of the word product, but you are making all 6 for us, right, Damian? Not just one, yes?
Products, all products. Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Thank you so much, Damian. Will you come back and join us again for one of these again soon? When we have when we've got something to hold in our hands, I'm sure. Will you come and celebrate that with us, please?
You know what I always tell you when you ask me a question? For you, anytime.
What's that?
For you, anytime.
Thank you. All right. My brother, that is Damian Krause of P3 International. If you need some electronics made to insane Germanic levels of quality, then he's very much your man. Thank you for everything you do for us, Damian. You're amazing.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, that just about wraps it up for this week. We have the secret word, of course, your chance to win $1,000 of amazing products from MAGFAST and from Damian. Or from other major brands. Today's secret word is no longer a secret now. It's family. 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 Just click on the link right underneath here and go through. As usual, enter. You get 3 extra chances to win $1,000 worth of gear. All right, that's it for this week. Kate will be back next week. We'll see if we can get Sean in with those amazing news that you're going to love these models when you see them. And please have an amazing week. Our hearts go out to you in Texas and elsewhere where the weather has been so terrible. Thank you. Thanks to you. We're changing charging for good.